Hey, it's Lejeune, Mind, Health, and Wellness with Lejeune. Oh my gosh, I have an amazing panel. I'm so excited to talk about this stress awareness. Last 3 years for me, stress has been a huge stress and wearing, which impacted my health, and definitely saw that show up. So, again, I'm LaJune Singleton. I am a board certified health coach, health and wellness coach, nutritional lifestyle coach, life coach, special needs coach, and also mindset coach. So, we're going to introduce Margaret. Margaret, can you tell the people who you are?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Margaret McComsky, and I am the CEO of Therapy and Consultant LLC, which is a mental health group practice whose our mission is to destigmatize mental health in the Black and Brown community while making it accessible for all. So, I am a social worker by trade. And, I've always wanted to, own a group practice and work with the community. So that's what I do now.
All right, Natasha.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. I'm Natasha, the founder and CEO of HerPlum. It's a feminine hygiene and wellness brand that's combining menstrual health and mental health. And so, our goal is to offer non toxic menstrual and urinary incontinence products, but also combine it with monthly breathing and meditation to help people that experience symptoms from PMS, PMDD, cycle anxiety, or postpartum. And so it's really about supporting women in an intentional way. I'm actually a CPA by trade, yoga master. And so transitioning to an entrepreneur and helping women is definitely a passion of mine. So I'm excited to be here.
Okay. Stress in women, and I know we all experience stress on a regular, either it's through work, relationships with partners, spouses, family, kids, traffic. Stress is everyday money, whatever it looks like. How are you, from the last few years up to now, because I know, Natasha, you made a huge health transition and you definitely talk about it a lot. So if you can kind of talk about what that transition and how it looks like now with dealing with stress.
Yeah. So being a CPA, I think every CPA has had the experience of, those stressful times at work. And I think sometimes it kind of comes with the job of making sure that, you're accurate. And so transitioning out of that, environment, but also in the same time, I was also experiencing reproductive health challenges. And so that's all, work and personal stress are two completely different things, right? And it's actually compounded. And so I actually had to intentionally put yoga in my kind of regimen to say this is how you're able to kind of deal with like work stress and personal life stress. And so it was an intentional choice for me because I kind of felt like I'm only one person and I can't be pulled in multiple places. And so, what are the things that I need to do for me? And so, there was really an internal conversation that I was having within myself. And I think it was really one of my friends who was a yogi who she was just like, girl, when you come into yoga, right? And I was so excited to actually have her as a friend because I didn't, to a certain degree, I didn't know what those internal conversations were really telling me and what I needed to do and how to deal with work stress. And so it was an intentional choice for me to start yoga and realizing, wow, deep breathing is so important. Or sometimes just putting your computer in a different room so that you're not on all the time, right? And so for me, it was just an intentional choice. And I realized from making a shift my reproductive health changed, how I kind of notice when I'm stressed within my body. I can, oh, something is happening now, let me pause. So there are now intentional things that I put into my day to make sure that my body feels good. Mentally, I feel good. And also, I'm actually, for the month of April, I'm doing this kind of mind, body, spirit reset just to make sure that I'm kind of tuning in to the things that I need. So, so yeah, I think it's just, I just decided one day you have to be intentional about your health. And so this is where you start.
All right, Margaret, for you, and especially this is, you work with other individuals when it comes to mindset and mental health, but how does it show up for you and how have you noticed it within yourself?
Yeah, I think for me on a personal level, I had to understand, the difference the different types of stress, right? Like I recently bought an Aura ring, and of course, if you have it, when you have it, you're constantly checking your stats. And I noticed that there were times where it would tell me that I'm stressed out, and I'm like, but I'm not stressed out. What's going on? And so it's important for us to like realize that we do have we have acute stress and we have chronic stress. So in the times
Mhm.
where I would find myself, when the app is telling me that I'm stressed out, it was more of like things that was important to me, deadlines that I needed to meet, an important meeting that was coming up. But then like that's acute stress, right? Where you can bounce back, you can recognize that, you could do something about it and you're fine. But then when we teeter into like the chronic stress, that's when you have a real physiological manifestation of like not dealing with like the stress that is going on. And for me as a leader, I found myself not necessarily taking care of me, right? And so and it wasn't deliberate, and I think that that's important. That's one thing that people have to realize, because there are things that make you feel good. Like, so for me, I could spend endless hours on my business and not even care about sleep, not even care about eating, not because that alone fuels me. Answering to people fuels me. And so I find myself, I think the first realize is that, okay, well, oh crap, like there's something wrong with my body. My body is reacting differently. I'm not sleeping as much as I used to be. I'm experiencing hair loss. What's going on, right? Like, and then like that really is like that reality check where it's like, okay, wait a minute, like what's happening? And so for me, like how it showed up was like just one day I woke up and I lost my period, and it was like, wait, I'm too young. I am too young to be experiencing this. What is happening? And I remember like going to meet with a homeopath, and they took the cortisol level test, and they were just like, we just don't know what to tell you, but your cortisol level is way too high and you're way too stressed. So you need to get a handle of like what's going on in your life. And that's hard, right? Because I think, how do you set boundaries on the things that fuels you? How do you set boundaries on the narrative that you have told yourself? And I think, we deal with that a lot as Black women, where, we can figure it out. If I'm weak, that means I'm a loser. And that's not the message. That's the message that was passed down to me. So like really like taking a step back and like really like rewiring my brain and changing the narrative for me, sort of like was a game changer for my, yeah.
I love that you mentioned the two different stressors because I think people don't know that it is two different forms of stress levels and how it shows up and how you mentioned I did that test twice to
Mm,
check my cortisone levels. It was I don't know if yours was a color, but mine
mhm.
was like the darkest shade of a pink color, which meant my cortisone levels were off the chain and I was getting sick. And they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. They knew my inflammation levels were high. They
Mhm.
couldn't figure out. We're doing test after test. One, I went to the emergency room and the doctor said, I don't want you to leave. I don't know what's wrong with you.
Mhm.
So we would prefer if you stay the night, because if you come back, we have to do this process all over again. That was my first hospital stay, but I didn't really realize how high my stress was. I was in an unstable housing situation, my finances, car accidents, different things like that. And just not realizing, and I'm steady going, going, going. I'm in functional depression, but I'm
Mm,
still trying to function through the depression because I still have responsibilities and bills to pay.
okay.
And I think people, my body was so inflamed. My ankle, I had to go back. My ankle, foot, and leg swole up.
Mm,
Didn't know why. And
mm,
I go back, they do everything, ultrasound. They're like, well, you don't have a blood clot. We don't know what's going on.
mm,
And they told me my lymphatic and my nervous system was out of whack, which is a form of stress, not just the
mm.
accidents, it's a
For
part of the stress.
Right.
Same as you. My period, I'm like, what's
Right.
going on? And my gynecologist was like, well, you're in perimenopause. Okay.
No. I think there's such an uptick with women in perimenopause. And I think that it's because like we are a walk-in stress. Like we embody the definition of like chronic stress. And I feel like they don't talk enough about it because of course you go to doctors and they're like, from my experience, they're like, well, there's nothing wrong. We don't know what's going on with you. We don't know why you've lost your period. We don't, right? Like, but we're gonna hit you with perimenopause. And it's like, until I met with, the homeopath doctor, and they were like, you're like extremely like in at risk at this point, and you need to do something about it. Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I'm just going to chime in and say I think exactly what I'm doing to combine the two, menstrual and mental health,
Hmm.
is so important because, as you both are saying, your stress levels were so high and it
Hmm.
made you miss your period. But if someone told you to take a moment to like breathe and kind of calm yourself down, um, then maybe your period might not have left, right?
Hmm. Right.
And I think it's so
Yeah.
important for us to be taught these tools of
Hmm.
how to kind of manage or relax our nervous system, because it plays such a huge part in how we show up in everyday life, right?
Sure.
So I'm glad that you both like shared that experience, because more and more I talk to so many women, and it's just, I wish I had this support, or I wish someone heard me during this time. And it's like, to a certain degree, were we really taught to say, hey, or to push back when we feel like something doesn't feel right? And so it's really like relearning
For sure.
now, what we want to see in the world, and teaching our nieces or children or and nephews like what they should do versus what our experience. So I'm
No.
glad we'll share that.
Yeah, and I think, that's a really great point. And I tell my clients, who a majority of them are like high professional women dealing with anxiety and depression. And it's like, yes, as a Black woman, you have built capacity to take so much. But when was the last time you checked in with yourself? Right? Like, when was it? And like some of the narratives that we carry, it's inevitable, but what are you doing to change that narrative for yourself so that it stops with you? And I think for me, like the eye opening was like, I have a little girl, I have a Black girl. Like, I don't want her to grow up in this world thinking that, you know what, stress is okay, right? Like, or like, experiencing stress is a weakness. But I wanted to gift her something that, ignoring stress is really the real major issue. And there are things that you can do so that it doesn't show up as like a weakness in your life, and that is asking for help, talking about it openly to your support system, and can accepting the help that is offered to you.
Yeah.
You know what? You just said something that was major that women don't do. We don't know how to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
We don't
Yeah.
know what that looks like, because in our minds, for most
Mm-hmm.
women, and I know for me, it used to be, if I ask for help, what will they want in turn? for giving me help.
Mhm.
It's a trust thing because we're so used to that superwoman, strong woman mindset that has been passed down from generation,
Mhm.
where we don't understand it's killing us. This is why women have heart disease, chronic stress. We're not happy.
Mhm.
We're trying to show up for everything and everybody, and we're never showing up for ourselves. I've had clients where I'll ask them, did you get yourself something? They'll say, oh, I went shopping, I got my kids this, I got my husband this. What did you
Mhm.
get for you?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, well, I didn't get anything for me. Why?
Yeah.
You don't matter.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she said to me, I feel guilty when I buy myself something.
Mhm.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
No.
So I think we have to change the narrative of, you know what? I deserve this as much as my kids, my husband, anybody deserves this because I am the one who's always showing up. Even when I don't feel good, I'm still
Mhm.
showing up.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
that thing of being able to, a lot of women don't ask their spouse or partners for help. They try to take it on themselves.
Mhm.
And I get that too, where clients will say, well, he never helps me. Did you ask for help?
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Or they ask for help and they do it, but it's not to their standard, right? Like I think that a lot of people, what I hear is that like I asked them for help, they do it, but it's not like but I'm like, but they did help. But they did help. So like being able to like kind of like sometimes it's okay to like tone down the expectation a little bit. It's getting done, right? And getting done, yes, you want it to be perfect, but I'm sorry, it's not perfect. It's done, right? It's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also like that also gives, our loved ones the opportunity to like grow, right? In stepping in and helping us. But when we say, well, they're not going to do it right, so I'm not going to ask them for help, then we're also in a way teaching them that it's okay to like walk in this life clueless and not be subservient to us. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. I was actually to kind of tag on to that. I was actually talking to a friend this morning just about our ability to ask our friends, our peers questions, right?
mhm, mhm,
And we're so afraid to ask a question because we don't want to hear the result, right? And so we do have to get into this place of asking our community questions that may feel
mhm,
uncomfortable, just so that they can hear the question and then they can say, oh, well, maybe I didn't feel like this, but now that you've asked the question, I didn't realize I was feeling like this, right? And then and as you kind of sharing, previously you were saying, we also have to kind of give our partners grace. We also
mhm,
have to show them the vision, right?
mhm,
This is
mhm,
what I'd like for it to look like. Are you able to do that?
mhm,
And maybe it's I can do this, but I can't do that. Okay, no problem. Now everyone is on the same page, right? So it's giving people the ability to ask questions, but also sharing the vision, so that we don't have those times where we're like, I'm so upset because it wasn't done my way. Right? What is your way? Did you give someone a vision of what it actually looks like?
mhm,
So it's really about communication. Have we learned how to communicate? Um,
mhm.
and it'll give our community the ability to kind of show up the way that we would like them to do, right? We would like them to, which is really, are you holding your community accountable,
Mhm.
right? Are you asking them the questions? Are you allowing them to kind of hear their thoughts and say it out loud, right? So as a community, we also have to do our part in showing the vision so that people can get better, right? Because as soon as you start saying, oh, well, I'm not going to say anything, you're not helping either.
No, that's true. And one classic thing to that I also see is we just assume,
Right.
right? Or like, classic women. I don't feel like I have to tell. Why do I have to feel like I have to tell them?
it's supposed to be a mind reader thing. The person's supposed to read your mind. They
Right.
don't know. You don't say anything.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, right. And you know what it is too. I think that what also happens. It's a telling tale of us having to struggle to ask for help. Or like we just assume that you should know by now, like my needs. But it's like no, like maybe the reason why you just want them to assume, or you just assume that they should know by now, is that maybe deep down you just don't know how to ask for help, and that's okay. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
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 Yeah, and that was my issue. I did not know how to ask for help. I
Mhm.
was literally, I'm like, okay, I'm killing myself to get money to pay for stuff instead of leaning on my support system to say, hey, can I borrow money? Hey, I need help. Because I was like, no, I can do it myself. I can do it myself. I'm literally doing Uber from sun up to sun coming back up because I didn't want to ask. And it took Tamika and two other friends asked me one day, do you have food? And
Mhm.
I'm like, how do you know I don't have food? And I was like, and a part of me, and it's also that you don't want to feel like, okay, I'm in a lesser place.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
you don't want somebody to see you as a burden. And that was my thing. I never wanted to be looked at as a burden to anyone.
Mhm.
So she's like, I don't think you do. And she just sent me money anyway. It was her and two other friends. And I was just like, okay, that's God, because God knows and He knows my heart. So
Mhm.
I'm literally trying to pay these people back. And they're like, no, pay us back when you're in a place that you can pay us back.
Yeah.
Don't try to kill yourself trying to pay us back on top of you're trying to take care of other things. And it was the thing of I didn't know how to ask. I didn't
Mhm.
know what it looked like, what that because that's the thing. We're never taught that where, okay, if you're not able to pay them at a certain time, communicate that. Don't just be like, oh, well, ignore it. I'm always like, hey, I know I said Tuesday, but give me some time. I'll pay you on Thursday. I think communication is big, and that's
Mhm.
something we are so open to ignoring it. They'll get it when they get it. Okay, they were nice enough to give to you. Have that communication. Don't stress them out because you're in a place where you're not in the right mindset. So I think
Mhm.
that's important that you stated communication, having those dialogues with the person of how you want something to look.
Yeah.
Put them in. Don't just think they automatically know because they don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We stress ourselves out by
Mhm. For
creating
sure.
a whole
Yeah.
narrative and creating a whole story. And it's just like you could have made your life a whole lot easier,
Easier.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
but we don't. And you, Natasha, you mentioned breathing, and that's something I'm still working on because I have PTSD when I'm driving and cars are close to me. And I notice I'm holding my breath for a long amount of time. And I've noticed this with clients, even with working out or just health coaching. And they're holding their breaths and they're up here and they don't know how to breathe properly because a lot of people think that you're supposed to breathe from your chest. And that's like, yeah, that's the incorrect way to breathe. Um, for you, are you guys in a place now that you're becoming more self aware when your body goes into stress mode? And what does that look like of how to release it for you,
Mhm.
Margaret?
Yeah. I don't know, last year I turned 40. And I don't know, something just happened. There was a flip. And like I don't know what happened. Maybe it's just like just turning 40. But I'm more and more like I'm becoming aware. Like I know that I have to breathe, right? Because there are times where I realize that wow, like girl, you're not breathing. And so being able to like even give myself a moment to just breathe. Um, I even think that sometimes when I'm giving out speeches, when I'm talking, like my shoulders like tense up. And so now I'm like, okay, I need to like sit up. I need to like check, my shoulders. Like, it's for me, like I'm checking in constantly. I know, okay, I'm not sleeping. I need to make sure that I give myself a deadline. And of course, like I think that one of the things that is happening is I would love to scroll on social media. I would love to do all these things but I'm learning what works for me. Right. Like, and what works for me is by 9:30, I need to be in bed. And so that is non-negotiable. I'm learning to set boundaries. And so there are times where, sometimes like you feel like you say no is selfish, but it's everyone will be okay. So especially like in my own personal life where, I want to do things, I want to accomplish things. And so like really getting my kids and my husband and my loved ones to understand that at this junction of my life, like we all have to be able to work together as a team, right? But I had to muster the courage to like have those hard conversations with them. Like yesterday, I went to conference for 2 days and they were fine. Everybody got to school on time. Dinner was made. And I was like, and like even yesterday, like the conference ended at 12:40. I didn't tell them that the conference ended at 12:30. I didn't get home till like 5:30 because I wanted time for myself, which I couldn't do that in the past. I felt like I needed to be there constantly. I needed to be present, but really like just having really, it all boils down to communication for me and having conversations even with my team, my family members. Because what I realized was that if we're not having these hard conversations, then our body is absorbing my body was absorbing everything and it wasn't healthy for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Natasha.
Yeah. So I want to say, what year was that? Maybe 2016, 2017. I actually experienced I was suicidal, right? And didn't know that my family had depression. Um, and so, that led me to, really going all the way to actually putting the knife to my hand, right? And I was like, I kind of like walked by a mirror and I remember kind of looking and I dropped the knife, right? And I was like, what made me what allowed me to get all the way here, right? And I'm hopefully I don't even tear during this conversation because it was a time in my life where I was like super, super low. And at that time, of course, I had, everyone has a lot of friends as they're kind of growing up. But now I notice when I'm kind of dipping, my energy level is dipping down because of my yoga tools and because of my very, very close friend group. That I'm able to say, hey, today I'm just I don't feel right. Something feels off. I feel overly stressed, and I'm able to say the exact thing that's making me feel that way. And it could be because I've told them the same thing every month, right? And every month they're able to give me like a bit of encouragement or support. What's coming up this month versus last month? What happened this time versus last time? And now I'm able to, really talk through with my very close friends. And if they're not available, I'm able to have those internal conversations with myself to say, sit down. If you are super, super stressed and it's going to kind of tip you over, what is it that you need to do to kind of reverse what's happening? Because once you kind of go into that depression state, it goes down, it goes into the ground, to be honest, right? And sometimes it's so hard to kind of climb out of that place. And it takes so much willpower and truly a really, really connected support group, right? I'm not even going to stress that enough.
Mhm.
So now I'm just intentional about my time, I'm intentional about like who I speak to on a daily basis. I'm intentional about the conversations I have, because if I notice any shifts, then I can't do this. Because I can sense myself kind of dipping down. I can't do all of these things, and everybody wants to do all these things, and it's like I don't have the energy for that. I'm not that person that can go here, there, and I can't. And so I need to be able to tap into my own energy, see what I can do, what I can't do, but also tap into my friend group. So that's how I've been able to kind of notice what's happening, because it was because of a very drastic life event that kind of brought me to it was like a slap in the face, kind of like, what just happened here, so I never want to get back to that place, and I really, really hope that anyone that is experiencing that they do reach out for help and have a good support group.
You know what? That was literally me last year. I was, and that happened to me. It happened to me three times. It happened to me in 2001, 2018, and last year. And last year was the worst. I was just like, I'm ready to die. My cousin had passed away on Mother's Day last year, and just money, grief, losing so many, friends. Our season had ended, put it like that. Um, Same thing with family season. Everybody thinks with family, oh, you got to keep trying, you got to keep trying. Sometimes, if family is stressing you out and you don't feel that connection, it's absolutely okay. And my friends are family, and I was just like, I'm ready to go. My therapist, I'm having therapy sessions twice a week because now at this point I'm scaring my therapist, and she's like, promise me before you do anything, please call the suicide line. And I'm like, I can't promise you that. And she asked me what my plan was, and I told her, because of the car accidents, I had a whole bunch of pain meds and muscle relaxers. I said, either I'm gonna pop pills or I'm just gonna walk in traffic and get hit. Like at this point, my body has been through a lot. And my cousin came to me one Saturday. This is my angel. She came to me one Saturday and she said, I was fighting to be here, and you're still here. You're still here for a reason and for a purpose. I need you to get up. I need you to fight for your life like you have never fought for it before. And I'm like, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I was like, okay, God, I'm trusting you, because that was the thing. I wasn't even trusting God. I was like, God, you saying you gonna do all this. I keep asking you for help and I'm still in the same boat.
Yeah.
And I had to understand, you have to let go and you have to trust. And I wasn't letting go. I was trusting. I was trying to control everything. And that's another way that we create our stress, because we're trying to control everything and it has to be the way we want it to be. And I started to let go. And I'm telling you, my life changed tremendously. And I was just like, okay, thank you, God. I got my car in October because I was renting cars and I was paying weekly for cars. That was quite expensive. Um, I'm now looking for, an apartment, which I was telling Natasha. And I'm like, okay, God, things are starting to change, because was I really ready in that time? Even though I wanted it, was I ready for it? And
Yeah.
sometimes we have to look at that, because we may not always be in a place where we think we are, that we're ready for something, because we haven't healed from the things that have destroyed and tore up what we had before. So I had to start looking at that and, taking away the blame and forgiving myself and forgiving God, because the first thing we do, we point finger at God. God, you supposed to be the creator of all things, but we don't look at, what are you doing? And how is that showing up in your life? So that was my stressor, because it was to the point I was like, God, if you was a person, man, we would be fighting. But I had to realize, you know what? It was my time to let go. And I started to become more aware, even when I'm driving and that PTSD comes up, breathe,
Mm.
breathe. And I think that's the thing I was telling you. I was working out and I took a break because now I'm trying to find a place, but still trying to incorporate, okay, what time is the best time for me to work out instead of 100%. Oh, well, I'm
Mm.
not going to do anything until I find a place.
Right.
So I think managing time is very important, and it definitely helps with reducing your stress level.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, as we know how stress can impact mental, physical, and emotional and spiritual health,
Yeah.
what is kind of a everyday now ritual for you ladies when it comes to managing and lowering your stress or going through a day where you're like, yeah, I'm not feeling this stress today.
Mm.
Margaret.
I think my non-negotiable is meditation. And sometimes when we talk about meditation, we think about just sitting there and like taking time. For me, my meditation is prayer. My meditation is spending time in the Word, um, and if praying, commanding my day to God, really like inviting God in my everyday life. Um, Making sure that because there are times where, and even like some of the clients that I see, making sure that I'm not seeing too heavy things back to back, to clients back to back, that can be heavy on me. So really negotiate, as a non-negotiable for me, and making sure that my ritual is, I got to get my water in. So what do I need? What are the tools that I need? And when I don't do those things, um, you feel out of whack, right? Like once you've built the discipline and like it's working for you, you can tell when something is off. And so when something is off, it's like, okay, Margaret, what have you not done? I was not starting my day with like meditation and prayer, and you could tell like I was just off. And so I was like, you know what? Hard reset. I gotta go back to the things that work for me. Yeah. So that's some of the things that I'm doing. And then working out, making sure that I'm eating food that does not inflame my body. Because I also think that as a Black woman, we think that we can eat. For me, personally, I thought I could eat everything, right? Like I was eating salad every day, salad and tuna and tomatoes every day. Then I did the food sensitivity test, and then I found out that like tomatoes and tuna and actually salad bloats me up, and I'm like, how did I not know this? So like really like no, I urge every woman to really get to know themselves, right? Like what works, what doesn't work. It's not a selfish act, it's a loving thing to really know yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Natasha.
Yeah. So I actually start my day every single day with an affirmation. It's I'm the best. I can do it. God is always with me. I'm a winner. Today's my day. And
I love that.
it's truly, as soon as I open my eyes, like that is what I say to myself every day. And for most of us, we're like, we don't want to get out of bed, right? If your bed feels so good. And I just keep saying it until I get to the point where I'm just like, and so if I am the best and I can do it and God is with me, then I need to get out the bed, right? And so that's when I say, good morning, Natasha. I say that at the end. Just me talking to myself and the things I need to do. But similar, Margaret was saying, meditation. And so I was sharing with LaJune prior to us joining, which is I'm intentional this month in doing a 30-day mind, body, spirit reset. And that includes meditation, kind of really sitting down and meditating and doing bowing and meditating. But being a yogi, like I can meditate as I'm walking, right? So there, you don't need to be kind of sitting down in one place. You can walking and actively meditating. So for me, meditation and affirmations is something that I put into my day consistently. And if I feel like, okay, I need a bit more, then I take these blocks of time and really isolate myself from the kind of outside world, reducing all the noise, and it really helps you to like, well, it really helps me to like concentrate and hone in on the things that I need to do and check in with my body to see how I feel. Of course, working out is super important, good nutrition and all of that. And so I make sure that I'm active and again, the conversations that I have are feel good in my body. And so it's really just a combination of things. But I think most importantly, affirmations and making sure that I meditate are two of my go-tos. So yeah, everybody should be meditating and everybody should have an affirmation.
I agree about how you mentioned, you both mentioned about meditation, because I think when it comes to meditation and prayer, people have in their mind it has to look a certain way, and that's not true. You
Mhm.
can literally be walking and praying or meditating, sitting in your car, doing the same thing, sitting at your desk, same thing. And most time, most of us need it is when we're at work and we're stressed the hell out. So praying and meditating before you walk into that office, praying and meditating when you walk out and you're about to drive, praying and meditating that God gets you, your kids, your family, or whoever home safely. That's an important component, because we always think of, oh, well, I have to be in a prayer closet. Oh, well, I have to be in a bed. Oh, I have to kneel on the floor. Oh, I have to be in the Indian pose. And it's like,
That part.
it does, yeah, it doesn't have to look like that. And also the time, we think, okay, even with working out, people we think, oh, it has to be 30 minutes to an hour, 5 minutes and more, however it looks for you to get movement in. Trust me, it works.
Mhm.
Because we have to get out of the mindset of it has to look a certain way, and it doesn't. It does not at all. Because you ladies have, some very valuable and important tools for so many other women who, um, have kids, and they're like, well, my kids are always around me. Okay, well, have that conversation. Hey, baby, can you give mommy 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm gonna put a timer on 2 minutes. Mommy needs some mommy time so I can be a better mommy to show up for you.
Yeah.
And that's, either going in your room or going in the bathroom, closing the door, or taking a quick bath, because helping them understand and seeing that you're passing positive tools to them, where it's like, you know what? Okay, because I babysit kids, and I have two little boys that are extremely overprotective of their mom. And they're like, well, when is mommy coming back? I'm like, does mommy ask you when you're playing with your little friends and she gives you that time with your friends, right? They're like, yeah. I said, well, mommy needs that same time for mommy.
Right.
And they're like, okay. And they get it, because if you explain it to them in a certain way, they totally get it. Mommy needs her time as well to play with her friends, or if she just want to go out by herself, let us give her that time.
Mhm.
And they totally get it now. Bedtime is not an issue. It's like, okay, it's 10 o'clock. It's time for you to go to bed. Okay, well, good night, Miss LeJune. Just having those conversations, as we talked about, talking, having those conversations, explaining things, and helping, especially kids that are really, because kids, we're clingy to our parents.
Right.
Everywhere your mom go, you right there. And I know Margaret, everywhere mom goes, the kid right there, and it's like, oh my God, I got a shadow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that's important to have those conversations with your kids, and it's absolutely okay, and they will totally understand. Just showing up for yourself. For me, I'm still in the process of reprogramming myself because for the last 2 years, 3 years, I've just been working, 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 and trying to get stability. And I was chasing money. I had to get a money therapist. That is literally because I was like, I never want to be in this place ever again in life.
Yeah.
And I got a money therapist, and that helps to take away money stress. And something she said to me every time you feel, she made me choose 5 songs that put me in a positive money space,
Mhm.
even when I have money or when I don't have money. And
Mhm.
one of them was Yolanda Adams, Thank You. And that song, she lists out everything. Thank you for waking me up. Thank you for protecting
Mhm.
me. Thank you for clean water. And thank you for the roof over my head. I play that song when I'm in that place of, okay, when the money coming, when I get the money. Her other song, I got the victory. Okay,
Mhm.
thank you, God. I now have the victory of change in my life.
Mhm.
Yes.
And she's like, tap into that. That helps me to eliminate that stress and that worry of, okay, you got me. No matter however it looks to me, you
Mhm.
got me. You
Yeah.
protected me and you've gotten me through. It may not be how I want it to look,
Mhm.
but I've never slept one night on the street.
Right.
I never didn't have a car to drive during this whole time. So those are the things that I go back and I look at. Um, if you are in a place where you're totally stressed out and you're still trying to navigate, please get you a therapist. And you talked about the food sensitivity. I've been saying the food sensitivity for 6 years now for people of getting tested because I think for us, and especially in the Black community and the Brown community, the mindset we've been taught that you have to eat and be fat.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
we're not understanding some of the
Yeah.
foods we're eating is causing illness in our body.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So get that food sensitivity test. You can either go through your doctor. Everly Wells has one, and York Test has one. York Test is a tad bit less expensive. Get
Mhm.
that test because we're eating everything together, and we don't know what the one thing is that's causing sensitivity. And you learned on your end, it was what, two or three? It was all three things. So get that test, get that test, get that test because your health and your gut health. I know when my stomach hurts, I'm up, I'm angry. All I see is red, and that stresses me out. Right? 'Cause I ate something I wasn't supposed to eat.
Yeah.
So start being mindful of
Mhm.
that. Check in with a therapist. We have some great women here who are open to helping because that was one thing that God kept saying to me over and over. You're here for a purpose. You're
Mhm.
here for a reason. It is so many individuals that need help, either through your podcast, your panel, through your coaching. People need help.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
people need to see individuals who can assist them in their process of growing and
Mhm.
healing journey because how many other people like Natasha and myself who's experienced suicidal ideation and actually tried to attempt it? How many people who have experienced, as a mother like you, Margaret, that really realized at this point, you know what, I'm gonna let go and I'm gonna let my household manage it instead of let me hurry up from this event and
Mhm.
go home and cook and clean and all that because we're known for doing that.
Mhm. Mhm.
So change is hard, but it's necessary.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
it as you can see, we are three women who have experienced stuff. It's not like, oh my God, my life has been great all my life.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I have a funny story because so my husband has been cooking, I want to say, for like the longest time. And so my 8-year-old, she's like, Mommy, I don't really like daddy's food. Can you like tell him that, he's been cooking for a while, so you want to step in and cook. And I'm like, I am not doing that. As long as the food is healthy, right? Like, we're going to be okay. Because again, like the narrative, right? Like, she's thinking the mother has to cook all the time. And it's like, no, I'm confidently fine with her cooking. Even if it's nasty, it's getting done. We're gonna be okay.
They make seasoning. She put some season, whatever, some hot sauce, some ketchup, whatever to make it taste better.
Yeah.
I commend you on that because most women wouldn't do that. They'd be like, "Oh my God, this is so nasty. I gotta cook."
I'm not. No. And so, like, I mean, and I also think that, like, for women and anyone watching this, like, the change that you're making for yourself helps the next generation. Your friends, they get to, reap the benefits of you actually taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
And I think it is so. The time when I came back from Bali, it was just so different. I had a glow. People kept saying, "Oh my goodness, you look so happy." And I was like, "Well, what the hell did I look like?" They were like, "You look so happy. You look so at peace." And I felt it. And it's so different because with the stress before going to Bali, I was sick every week. I had sinus infections that would turn into walking pneumonia. And that's another thing. If you're constantly getting sick, please do not ignore the signs because walking pneumonia, the signs are not like regular pneumonias. You're not coughing, you don't have a fever. You just notice your chest and your breathing is differently. Please go get a chest x-ray. And if they try to fight you on it, like, I know my body, I want a chest x-ray because I've had to do it numerous times. But everybody's like, "Oh my God, you look so happy and at peace." And I told my therapist, how do I get back to her? Because I was like, I was such in a great place. And she said to me, "You have to kill out parts of you to become this newer version of you." And I'm like, "Well, damn, when am I gonna figure her out? Because I'm still trying to learn her." But in every chapter, it's always different versions that you become and different versions that die off. Like I said, friends I'm not even friends with anymore, and I had to understand that season ended.
Right.
That it's like expired milk, and that's okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna add on because I agree with you. After coming back from Bali, I was like, this is a lot. It's like, should I just move there? Because you just feel so calm. The food is so good. It's like just the way people connect and talk, and it's just a different feeling. Even as soon as I landed in the country, it kind of felt like mama was holding you and cradling you in that kind of space. So I would tell everybody go to Bali.
Save up and go to Bali. Even the animals, like the dogs there weren't barking like the dogs here. Everybody was so calm. The animals and cats, dogs got along with the cats. They were going in and out of businesses and everything. It was so amazing. And when we got ready to leave the resort we stayed at, I didn't even realize that I made that type of impression on the staff that worked in the kitchen. Do you know each and every one of them came out and hugged me and said, "When are you coming back?" And I was like, I just said good morning to you, and that's how you were. But sometimes that small thing makes a difference in somebody's life to be seen.
Yeah. I don't think we do that enough here, right?
No.
We don't come into rooms and be like, "Oh my gosh, you look so beautiful," or like, "Oh my gosh, let me give you a hug. I haven't seen you in so long," or just some sort of good energy, putting energy out there. And I think sometimes that goes a longer way, right? And sure, it might be some people are a bit nervous to kind of go into a room and be that person where they're giving so much positive energy, but I think it's the way that we need to kind of figure out how to be more positive, right? And maybe it's going back to communication, as we were talking about before. What do people like and what they don't like, and maybe these are not the rooms I want to be in. I want to be in these other rooms, and you're able to adjust how you kind of show up, and you show up intentionally for the group that make you feel the way that you want, because you're getting that reciprocated energy. So yeah, positivity all the way. Like I wish that more rooms had it. I love the fact that we're here kind of sharing all these positive messages and information for people to kind of tap in within themselves and see how can they adjust. So I hope more and more women kind of utilize this information as how do I better myself, because it starts with you, right? It starts with us. And once we make those internal shifts, then this world will be like Bali.
Yes, bring Bali to America.
Exactly.
Yes. All right. So as we're about to close, what positivity and inspiring things could you say to another woman from your own personal experience of what you all have went through and where you are today? Because again, I always do this for a reason, and I think God always gives me people who he feels can really tap into some other woman, and other men, because I've had men who got my book, and I mean, I didn't really write my book for gender, but I had so many men that said, you know what, your book helped me because I was molested, and now I can actually admit and say it wasn't my fault, and this happened to me because for so long I had buried it. Um, and I always feel that putting these platforms together help so many other individuals who are struggling, especially during this time. It is definitely stressful and challenging with food and gas prices going up, just the cost of living, everything going up, and having to see, okay, they're just like me. They have their own experiences, but they're finding ways to reduce their stress, and they're finding ways to say, you know what, God got me and I'm okay.
Yeah.
No matter what's going on in the world. All right, Margaret.
You know that any woman watching this, you are a masterpiece. You are beautiful, and you are deserving of all the beautiful things, wonderful things life has to offer. Because I believe that sometimes we don't think that. And so we just feel like, man, this is what these are the cards that life dealt me. So I'm just going to deal with it. No, you don't have to deal with it. There are solutions. Find someone that you could partner with. It can be God, a therapist, friends, and you're going to be okay. Just hold on to that belief that you deserve all the good things in this life.
I love that. I love that.
Agreed.
Yeah, love that. I'm going to add on and say, you are valuable. You are worthy of everything good. And it comes from inside, right? So telling yourself daily you are valuable and you are worthy and you deserve all the good things, and tap into your community, right? And if you don't feel like your community has, what you're kind of looking for, then reach out to us and write in the comments, reach out to us at our individual companies and say, hey, how can I find the help that I need? Every one of us have experienced something in our lives, and there is no one person that's here alone on this planet. I'm sure someone has gone through a similar experience. So, talk, open up. There are safe spaces that you can connect to people who want to hear and to help. And so from my core to yours, you are valuable and you are worthy.
I love it. I love it. And I'm going to say on my end, Your voice matters. So don't ever think if one person doesn't believe you and don't hear you that your voice don't matter. That wasn't the person you need to tell that to. So
Mhm.
keep that in mind. That person wasn't the person. And that means that person is not the person that needs to be in your circle.
Mhm.
So your voice matters. You are worthy and deserving for any and everything you want and you desire. Those unhealthy relationships that you're in with people that aren't treating you right, even if it's family, it's time to say goodbye and let them go and wish them well, because you don't need to be stressing yourself out trying to show up for them and they're not showing up for you and they're not hearing and seeing you. So definitely it's time to start putting you first, loving you, and doing things to make you better. Can you tell them where they can find you and if you have anything coming up, Natasha?
Yeah. You can find me at herplum.com. That's HERPLUM. Also, for you to be able to remember, it's her plum because it's hers. You taking control over your body, how you support yourself, because it's hers. Right. So you can find me there. We want women to be able to, again, be able to support themselves in an intentional way. So you can also find all the resources on our website for doulas or nutritionists and healthcare clinics if you do need that support. So we will also, if you do sign up for our subscription list called Plum Bunch, which is just a bunch of plums trying to heal,
Mhm.
then we'll be able to share all of our upcoming events. So look forward to connecting and seeing you all hopefully in the future at a future event.
All right, Margaret.
Yeah, so you can find me at mmtherapy.co, and we have tons of things going on. We have an open house. If you're in the Rhode Island area, we have an open house on coming up on Tuesday, May 6th at 10 a.m. So if anyone wants to stop by, you can do that. But there's tons of resources. I am not accepting new clients, but we have other wonderful therapists that are accepting clients. So we do service individuals in Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and in Maryland. So please, check us out again, mmtherapy.co. And it's the same handle for our Instagram as well. Yeah.
I love that. That you just said I'm not available, but there's other therapists available, and that's something we talked about on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
All therapists aren't a one size fit all.
Mm-hmm.
So if whoever you go to may not be a great fit, that doesn't mean you don't need therapy. That just means that ain't the therapist for you. Because I literally went through 10 in 2022. So if I knew you served in Maryland, I would have definitely got you.
Yeah.
But yes, please, please don't give up on your mental and emotional health.
Mm-hmm.
Find somebody that works for you. And
Mm-hmm.
again, all therapists don't work in every area because, as I said, I have a therapist and also have a money therapist. Because my therapist, we kind of talk about money, but that ain't her specialty.
Yeah.
So please
Mm-hmm.
understand that. Don't think that, oh, well, I'm talking about this and this therapist doesn't, what's going on? That may not be that therapist's niche, and you need to ask what's your niche and what's your specialty, because you want to get help, but you want to make sure you're with the right person to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Please keep that in mind. You can find me at lejune.singleton.com, and you can find me on all the social platforms with June Singleton. We will be back, different panel group though, on Friday for Women's Health and Mental Health Month starts May 1st. Um, and we'll have, you two back. I have to schedule with you, Margaret, for another day you're available. But Natasha will be back on May 8th with another amazing panel. So please join us there. But until next time, you guys be blessed and have a great rest of the week. And don't let nobody
Bye,
steal
guys.
your joy. Bye.
Everybody.
Thank you, ma'am. You